Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a new story, My Hero Academia, Together We Are Invincible, by Free Flow Highway. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin Chapter 1, The World of Heroes. Fire breathing. He had always been told that was his father's quirk. An ability to produce flames with a breath. He only ever saw smoke billow out from his nostrils at parties. However, now, as he sits with his mother in the living room, barely a toddler, yet so excited for what comes on the television. He watches him use it for the first time, a pair of young emerald eyes glued to the grainy television screen, as a man of impressive physique wearing a shimmering red star-themed costume evaporates an entire rock slide with one breath. Gold linings with black stars. Other superheroes all work hard to save lives from the active volcano, the dormant supermass now forced into a rumbling rampage from a group of horrible villains, with an unseen battle happening within the base. Space Hero, 13, uses her black hole quirk to suck up as much debris as possible to allow people freedom from being buried under rubble, though earthquakes keep her busy as structures continue to fall. But not all, thanks to the ever-stylish Fiber Hero, Best Jeanist, using his threads to keep the most populated building standing and looking cool as ever doing it. While the Punching Hero, Death Arms, and the Excavation Hero, Power Loader, tunnel through debris to save those trapped in precarious situations. There is a collective shout amongst the distressed citizens as a deafening explosion sounds from the volcano. Another eruption, but the blazing star acts swiftly, flying high then swooping low as he digs another trench into the ground that keeps the flowing lava from reaching the city. Another one sounds, as from the base comes a geyser of fire, and the spectacle of a battle coming out to the forefront. A monster, bipedal with glowing cloven hooves and made from the element of fire itself with a rocky hide, resembling the ancient minotaur of Greek legend lands at the edge of the city. Ha ha ha. Look how many of you it takes to stop just one of me. It notices the camera, then gestures to itself, speaking in great pride. I am, Minotaurus. And I will bring fire upon the world. A number of heroes show up, all that the boy watching has bought merchandise of, all except one. The Fire Breather. Coming in from above like a shooting star, he barrels into the flaming beast, a visible wave of kinetic force appears from impact as the monster creates a small canyon from its body. U5. Focus on civilian safety and collateral damage reduction. I'll take this one away so the others will calm the volcano down. Ha! Who do you think you are giving out orders like that? You just showed up out of nowhere. How can we trust Dash? Asks one of the older heroes, a veteran at this kind of thing, one that is interrupted as the fire breather catches Minotaurus' arm as the monster returns at the speed of lightning. A thunderclap sounds as fist meets palm. Immediately, the Flying Wonder expertly puts the beast into an arm lock, before spinning around at such speeds that a hurricane wind begins to form. Before it becomes too much, he launches Minotaurus over the horizon far above the sky and towards the sea. My name is Starman, that is all he says before he flies away. A great gale nearly pushes the cameraman off of his feet, while other camera cuts show Starman flying after the monster. This day also saw the debut of another. A man that could do the impossible when all thought it unthinkable, saving as many lives as 100 heroes, all by himself. Fret not. Don't give up. Smile through it all. Wanna know why? Because, I am here. Wearing the all-American colors of red, white and blue, with sharp arrows and a golden mane with two tufts of hair sticking up like horns is a man that holds up a building with one hand. While doing so, he carries the weak and injured all over his body. I am All Might. On that day, two polarizing stars were born in the eyes of the media. The symbol of peace in the number one pro-hero, All Might. The ideal superhero. A perfect white smile, brimming with positivity and optimism. A true social butterfly that could make even the darkest of days shine bright with the power of his fists. But then there is his polar twin, the ice-blooded Nova, Starman. His helmeted mask opens to a small vent where his mouth allows him to blow unstoppable flames, but that is all anyone has ever seen of him, and at times all they hear. Stoic, blunt, and a full-force fighter. Rarely does Starman ever help in saving lives, though he never ignores pleas for help. He is a warrior first and foremost. Without any sense of mercy. Villains shudder at the mention of their names, people cheer at the sight of them, and all cry out in adulation. One day, Starman does something unexpected after subduing a giant monster that crawled out of the ocean, forcing it back to the watery depths below. He lands on the beach and the press immediately floods him. Starman, Starman. Are you going to answer some questions today? Hey. He's looking this way. Wow, you're bigger this close. Say, what's your quirk? Is it some kind of furnace thing? Starman, why do you show no remorse for the lives you've taken? Do you think of yourself as above the law? Do you have any comments on the theories of your origin? Are you even human? Starman looks at the cameras, eyeing one by one until he finds it. The news station, and thus, the camera that his boy is looking through. A pair of young green eyes widen in shock as this heartless hero points at him and states. I only stopped to say one thing. There are many young faces that are the future of tomorrow. I'm not the one they should strive to be. They need to be better, they will be better, because we will show them how to be better. I know you're watching, and one day, it'll be your turn out here. For the world's newest generation of youth, an endorsement like this from the cold-hearted super vigilante had quite the effect, as a boost to activity would skyrocket. Heroes, vigilantes, and villains are all emboldened by these words. But for one young boy, those words meant the world, and would be the catalyst of a long journey towards greatness. I apologize, ma'am, but your son is quirkless, Midoriya-san. Says the doctor. Izuku Midoriya, a young boy of only 4 years old, sits there in his mother's lap with a stunned smile of disbelief plastered on his face. Inko Midoriya glances between him and the doctor. Hey, are you sure? It might be something subtle dash. I mean, I can only lift small objects within close range dash. I'm afraid it isn't something like an emitter type. It's this. He pulls up an X-ray of Izuku's foot, pointing at one of his joints. He's missing a specific joint right around here. Everyone that has a quirk is born with one, whether the manifestation of one is obvious or not, so without it one cannot hope to develop one. But there has to be something you missed. I mean, my husband is dash. She stops herself, as if she had remembered something vital, mumbling and muttering under her breath with 100 words a second. The doctor, somewhat unnerved by her incoherent ramblings, clears his throat, which brings her back to reality. Is your husband quirkless? I wouldn't blame it on him. It happens more often than you think dash. Quite a few families just happen to have a quirkless family member among them. She shakes her head, a small yet forced smile on her face. No dash. No, not blaming, it's complicated. Thank you for your time, sensei. The drive back home was awkwardly silent for both mother and son. She expected him to have 1,000 questions, though he has always been a quiet and polite boy, unlike his father. The only thing those two shared, save for their noses, was that they were incredibly quiet people, and that made it hard for them to bond. She knows her son loves Hisashi Midoriya. A lot of people around the world do. However, just as many do not, as they only know him as the infamous Starman. He is rarely home due to his heroic duties, often on camera, often cheered on by Izuku. However, the rare times he is home, the two can barely speak to each other. She can see it gets to them both. Izuku does not know the man behind the helmet, and Hisashi is unsure if he should even allow him to, considering his lifestyle and choices. Every and any controversy tied to his actions would immediately fall upon the boy. That is not even to bring up the fact that he is not human at all. It is that fact she must now have them both confront. A fact they agreed to keep from Izuku unless absolutely necessary. Izuku, there's something your father and I have been meaning to tell you. Huh? He asks as her voice takes him from his own daydream. I know the doctor said you're quirkless and he may be right, however, so is your father. Izuku's eyes widened at the reveal. But, his quirk. Isn't it called furnace? He heats up and becomes super powerful from all the heat energy. She giggles, thinking back on the old conversation she had with him, shaking her head as she replies while reminiscing. That was just a lie we made up on the spot. Most buy it, some don't believe it, but the truth is he uses a special tool that allows him to breathe fire for a short period of time. That's it. His eyes widen into dinner plates, gawking with each new mind-blowing revelation. But he flies. He can carry a mountain. He punches super hard dash. He can breathe in space. She laughs further, lighter, for she loves seeing him brighten up. Seeing him happy is the greatest feeling she has known. Well, first off, he doesn't breathe in space. He just holds it, much better than we humans can. Secondly, all of that isn't a quirk ability, that's just how he was born. I'm thinking you might be like that too, someday. Be like Dad. He says with wonder. Is she getting his hopes up? She should probably ground him before he throws himself off the roof. You don't have any powers or the like, now. So don't do something silly, like running into traffic, or jumping from scary heights, okay? And this is an important secret. Your father worked hard to try to fit in. Please, don't tell anyone else. He nods rapidly, excited. Whatever dar funk that possessed him before has been exorcised by the sheer joy of this new discovery. She sighs, wondering if she did the right thing. Are you an alien? Izuku asks at dinner. It had been some months since his physical examination, and now, for the first time in the year, the whole family has dinner together. Of course, Inko had thought to bring the matter up herself, but Izuku had ruined whatever subtlety she wanted to use. Yes. Hisashi casually replied, shocking his wife. Hisashi dash. He's 4 years old, he should know these things by now, but why ask? Izuku's eyes begin to sparkle, which, to her further confusion, seems to make this apathetic statue of stoicism that she calls her lover smile. Mom said you were. We did my quirk test. I failed. His mood dampens slightly as he watches his father, pleading for his input without verbally asking for it. He gets his answer as the large man continues to eat his meal, taking his time to enjoy the flavor Inko added to each bite. He does not look at his son when he answers, but he does not hesitate either. That's good. At that, both Inko and Izuku look at him oddly. The silence finally gets him to look up from his meal. Black dots dart between them before he elaborates. My DNA should make it difficult for a quirk to even manifest, and even if you did have one, it could potentially be phased out as time goes on. You told him about the hell pits. Please don't call them that, Inko begs with a weary frown. He grins. The gesture knocked her back, for he rarely smiled. The only time she can recall him smiling is their wedding, and Izuku's first birthday, for that is how rare the expression is. Well then, what about Blaze Pops? Much better dash. And I did. That's all I told him though. I figured you'd be better at telling him the rest. Good call. He brings the bowl up and swallows the remaining scraps, leaving his dish clean, but displeasing his wife in the process as Izuku copies him with less than clean results. Don't eat like your father, dear. Hisashi stands from his seat and then makes his way over to Izuku before picking the boy up from his chair. Listen to me well, son. I am from a planet very far away. We were going through our own troubles, something I'll tell you about when you're older, but we soon learned how to be better people. How to fix pollution, how to solve hunger, poverty well, we worked hard and we're continuing to work harder to make the universe a better place. He brings him in close for a hug. I was sent here to do just that for Earth. One day, someday, I hope to introduce you to the rest of our people. Then, you won't be so lonely anymore. Izuku hugs his father back, tighter than he had ever hugged him, for this is the first time his father ever hugged him first, let alone, at all. For Inko, that day marked a breakthrough, that she had finally achieved her goal in making her husband more human. For Izuku, it would be the day everything changed, and hope had never left his heart as he heard about his destiny. Can I be like you in all might? Hisashi laughed. I'd prefer you be like him rather than me. Anything worth doing in life isn't easy, Izuku. You'll have to work hard, every day, do you understand? He asks, putting him down, and the boy nods eagerly. Yeah. I'll do everything I can. To be a hero. Chapter 2, The True Worth of Heroism. Get out of my way, nerd. And not until you apologize. A hot-blooded bully slaps Izuku across the cheek, a small explosion leaving a red burn, as Izuku falls to the ground. The bully cackles, shoving his pockets into his hands. I can't stand you always trying to stand up like that. Just stay down, Deku. His two cronies squawk behind him. I got him good, that time, Bakugo. You're so cool. Man, why could we blown his face off? You really are a genius with that quirk of yours. That is his middle school life in a nutshell. Even the person he had been defending, who was successfully left alone, couldn't help but look down at Izuku as he watches his classmate struggle to stand on his own. I don't need someone quirkless defending me, dude. Please don't try to help me. It's a bad look. The student walks away leaving Izuku alone. After school, he had been walking home, stuck in his thoughts. Years have passed but there are no signs of his powers awakening. His father as well has been gone for about 6 months. Their relationship is strong, despite the bullying, which came as a great support for him. It takes strength to stand against someone or something you don't know you can take. Being a coward is something no hero can expect to be. He is a coward though. His legs shake, his lips and tongue quiver, making him babble and stammer incoherently, and he cannot stop himself from crying or sweating. Thankfully, he is a slight germaphobe, so the smell never lingers with his routine hygiene. But he is nothing like his father, or his former friend, Katsuki Bakugo. The blonde dynamite that torments his days. They were once close, as their fathers worked together, and their mothers went to the same schools as their sons. Masaru, Katsuki's father, made the costume for Hisashi and unintentionally became his hero manager regarding merchandise and press. Although he is the one to make most of the profit, a great sum of it is given to Inko, as Hisashi barely makes any money himself. Mitsuki, his mother, used to host small parties with the two early in their childhood with various heroes arriving. Izuku thought about them, and then his own parents, and finally about himself. How different he is from how amazing he sees Katsuki. He has a terrible temperament, awful temper, and antisocial personality. He is however, mindful and aware of the power of his quirk, and is constantly exercising caution with it despite his ruthless abuse. He would probably be the ideal apprentice for someone like Endeavor, or even Edgeshot. Maybe even his own father. His thoughts are interrupted by something gooey. A violet mass of slime with eyeballs starts to entangle him. You'll do. He tries in vain to struggle as the slime begins to wrap and constrict his limbs, forcing him to obey its movements. Someone. Save me. Never fear. For I am here. Shouts a boisterous and proud voice. Having followed the freak underground, erupting from the manhole it had slithered out from, an idol appears and incapacitates the villain in one fell swoop. A thrown punch with such force it creates a disorienting shockwave. Izuku wakes up to someone lightly slapping his cheek. Seems he's stirring. Come on, young man. Wake up. Izuku's eyes flutter before he sits up abruptly at the sight of the number one. All Might. You're. The blonde Adonis smiles, only wearing a t-shirt and jeans. He tosses a bottle up and down, grinning ear to ear. Good eye. Yes, this is the villain I had been chasing down. Now that you're all right, I'll be taking him away now. Dash. He turns and makes for a great leap. However, as he soars through the skies, he feels something on his leg and hears a distant crying. No, not distant, but muffled by the intense wind blowing past his face. He looks down at his leg and is shocked. The boy had clung onto his leg when he wasn't looking. Do you realize how fast we're going? What is wrong with you? I'm sorry, but I had a question, All Might. They land on the roof of a department building. Izuku releases him, stepping away a few paces. I know that was reckless. But there are so many things I need to ask you. See, can't it be emailed to the online fan letter? But I need to hear it from you, personally. There'll be a meet-up for handshakes and a concert next February. But, you're here, now. FSH. Izuku leans back as a cloud of steam surrounds the chiseled icon of heroism. When it dies down, before him lies a skeletal fellow, a thin sickly man with a triangular face and blonde messy hair that resembles stray mummy wraps. Who are you? I'm All Might. Gawk. He replies with a waterfall. He coughs, resting his hands on his knees as he struggles to stand, before resting against the edge of the roof. Izuku's eyes widened. What N no way. You're just some imposter, right? He's a worldwide phenomenon. He has to have stand-ins for whenever he can't show up in time. That's gotta be it, right? The fragile man grins, an all too real, too familiar, too iconic of a smile. Not a bad idea. I actually do have some in the Mediterranean islands, some parts of Europe, and one real dedicated guy in Russia. But sadly, this is just the reality of things. Look. He lifts his shirt, revealing a gruesome injury. Please don't tell anyone on the internet about this. It's meant to be a big secret. Wait. That injury. I've seen it before. All Might's eyes dart at him. What? How? Where? Were it anyone else, Izuku would have never even brought the matter up, but this is his idol. This is a man he has worshipped right along with his father. Seeing the old injury reminds him of the one time he saw his father hurt. The one time he seemed vulnerable. That day was 5 years ago. Hisashi never told him what happened, only that he would need the memory as a reminder, that even the strongest in the world have to face challenges. No one is indestructible. My father. Man, there is a palpable silence in the air. All Might's smile grows wide before he starts laughing. Fit. That's a good one. Don't say things like that. Izuku growls. He could handle being called weak, useless even. He could handle the burns and punches. The slaps and kicks. He could handle all of that. But one thing not even he could tolerate, is the slander of his father, even if made in ignorance. I am serious. He is. He has a thick mustache on his face. He doesn't have scars because he heals too fast and never shows his body. So people think they can recognize him, when they can't. He doesn't even have a quirk. He uses these tiny rocks that he swallows to make it look like he's breathing fire. They're called blaze pops. I know this, I know him, because he is my dad. He said in an outburst. A childish tantrum that he awaits further ridicule in reply. However, All Might stares at him completely flabbergasted. He never told anyone else about the rocks. You even know what they're called. You're, actually, his son. He has a son. Izuku notices his face becoming paler. It occurs to him, that All Might may have a similar opinion of his father as others, that Star Man is too dangerous to be trusted. Too cold, too stoic, too inhuman. More robotic than even some generated AI personalities. I wanted to ask you something. I wasn't born with his strength. I can't fly like he can. I don't see very far, or can fix things like he can dash. I'm just a quirkless person, but even someone like me. They can be a hero too, can't they? All Might leans back as his body relaxes and his mind wanders. How does he answer this? The real and most obvious one, is the honest answer. No. Without power, one cannot make a difference, be it through a quirk or charisma, money, or firepower. One needs the means of sway to make and kind of change in the world. But if this is the boy he truly says he is, if this is the father of the most powerful being on the planet, is it a good thing his son was born powerless? Or is it pathetic? Tragic, even. He forces himself to stand, and sighs. I'm sorry, but without a quirk, or some form of power, it's not realistic to pursue such a dangerous dream. There's nothing wrong with dreaming itself, but you have to be realistic, kid. You have a mother as well, right? Friends. When you're a hero, you go out every day facing things that could end it all, and you don't always make it home. Try to find purpose in what you have now, though. Doctors, police officers, even astronauts as of late are all able to do things not even I can do. Heart surgery is a bit too nerve-wracking even for me. He says, forcing out a chuckle, but seeing Izuku's face turn into a hopeless grimace, he turns away and reaches for his pockets. He can hear the boy run away and his heart aches. But better the boy survives to live a normal life rather than end up a stain on the pavement. However, there is one issue. The bottle that held the globular villain is missing. He should have known better. It has been years and there is nothing to show for it. Just some extra muscles that pale in comparison to others that made athletics their life, and a few small scars on his knuckles from being too reckless against a punching bag at home. It took someone he worshipped to bring him back down to earth. He could never be like them. He couldn't be anything like All Might, or even him. He just had to face reality as it is. His mother will be happy. She wanted him to be a lawyer, since that's what his grandfather did, at least on her side. His father never spoke about his parents, or about his people, he barely even told him anything but his name. Helping people through the law is nice. However, even though the justice system has seen reform in the past decade, defense attorneys still have a lackluster reputation. More than that, he hated sitting still, especially at a desk. School at least allows for some distractions. School, he will never make it to you, eh? He will have to throw all of his plans away. To throw away his dreams. An explosion down the street nearly distracts him from his funk, but he then reminds him, just how right Bakugo has been this whole time, that's all he is a cheerleader. A spectator. In regards of the fight, rescue, consolation, he's useless. Wait, explosions. One after another, and such a distinct boom, so sudden yet with a hollow echo afterwards. He pushes through the crowd and finds a familiar face being in the position he would have been in. The slime villain possesses Bakugo, forcing him to use his quirk to cause mayhem, with the boy in desperate distress. There were heroes on the scene, but for one reason or another, none of them could make it. None of them could save him. Not even All Might, who wasted his time on a worthless fan on Izuku. He is to blame for this. So he will make it right. Running ahead, breathlessly sprinting with all his might, he reaches Bakugo. He leaps over a tendril for his legs, and reads a right straight, avoiding the explosion that would have rendered him to cinders. Kaken. Why are you here? You look like you needed help. He cries as he attempts to pull his childhood friend out. However, another swing comes at him, one he cannot avoid. Whoosh! A hurricane wind nearly blows the whole area away as a thunderclap practically obliterates the gooey scumbag. Izuku opens his eyes to see his father, in costume, floating above him with his hands together. Starman had clapped so hard that it had caused the fires to go out, the villain to explode, and even the weather above to change as rain began to fall. He looks around, hidden eyes looking between each and every hero. "You're worthless," he says before he vanishes, taking Izuku with him, though no one cares to notice the brave but foolish brat. No one, but number one, secretly watching as he clutches his old wound. A feeling of guilt, almost shame, yet relief. He should have jumped in, should have risked his life with the power he still has left, for that's what heroes do. It's what he told that poor, worthless, boy. On a roof not too far away, Hisashi lands with his son, who pulls himself away from him. "Worthless. I'm Dash. You think I'm worthless? Oh. DMN, the alien thinks." With his face hidden, it wouldn't be out of the question for his son to make this mistake, especially as he takes after his mother. He says nothing, learning it is better to let humans tire themselves out, before attempting a reasonable conversation. Izuku paces in a circle, his arms swinging with each shout, his face shifting between anger and deep sadness. "I know. Okay. I know I'm worthless. Useless. I'm Deku. I can't fly. I can't carry big cruiser ships, can't push mountains or change the weather, can't fly into space dash. Can't breathe fire or lift things with my mind. I'm a disappointment. But I still can try. Okay. I can still help people. I can still be useful. I am useful. Right?" he asks, having finally let all of his frustrations out. Hisashi stares at him as he watches this fragile creature in that face. In this moment, he remembers his own argument with his father long ago and sighs. This world has no need for powerful cowards. I was calling the heroes on standby worthless. You, despite having nothing but your body and drive, ran in to save someone. That is the kind of person I need. That is the kind of son I hope to raise. Decisive. Brave. His voice grows softer as he relaxes, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. Kind. Do you think I forgot what I told you? Did you forget that promise you made me? Izuku, you can and will become a great hero of Earth. I guarantee it. At that, Izuku's world, his mood, his life truly changes. At those words, with this man so often called a heartless killer, truly believing in someone such as him, it means the world to the young boy. The next day, just after an awkwardly peaceful but tense day of school, as Bakugo scolded him yet ceased his bullying, Izuku jumps as a familiar face rounds the corner. Aha! I found you, young Midoriya. Ha! All Might. Why are you here? All Might flexes his chest as he places his hands on his hips. You see dash. Gawk. He deflates on the spot, but after catching his breath and wiping, continues with a serious yet true smile on his face. To my shame, I allowed that entire incident to happen. Don't feel as though you were to blame for it. It's a hero's duty, not just to keep the peace, but reassure the people that they can find happiness and feel safe with our work. That day we all failed. Everyone had their struggles, but you stepped up to the plate. I just got in the way, Izuku says glum. However, he picks himself up immediately as he recalls his father's empowering words. But I haven't given up. I know you only meant to help me, but I can't accept the words you gave me that day. Even if it takes my whole life, I'm going to do everything in my power, to become a great hero. He expected some more rational talk. Of how he cannot make it. How dangerous this lifestyle is. To his pleasant surprise, he had other words to say. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Ha! Is all he can think. His face says as much, and All Might explains before he even asks. Like your father, my abilities aren't as they seem, for my quirk was passed down to me from another. A generational line of heroes before myself, a crystalline network, of passing this mighty power along. With each new generation, it grows in power, and my time is approaching its end. I can only hold this form for 3 hours. However, you can potentially send it to greater heights. He then spreads his arms as if to invite the boy as he makes a powerful declaration. When all else failed, and the chips are down, you still ran forth headfirst into danger. Yes, I still stand by what I said before, power is necessary, thus. I have decided to grant you, my power. Izuku's eyes widen. His heart races. His legs go weak and tears begin to well up in his leaky sockets. He falls to his knees, beyond grateful, as All Might awaits an answer. The entrance exams for UA are within 10 months as of now. If we want to prepare you for it, we'll have to start now. Are you ready, young Midoriya? He does not hesitate as he throws his head up. Yes, sir. Chapter 3, A Quirky Awakening. 10 months pass, fancy seeing such an exclusive face around here. Principal Nizu, the lead director of UA and representative of Japan regarding the Heroic Education Division of the Globe, a small mouse mutant with the ability of hyper-intelligence. An ability brought about by cruel and unusual experimentation. Such a past has not gone forgotten by his rare guest, Cecil Stedman. The man above it all, so far above that he has no official insignia or rank, even his face is known to only a handful within the planet. His most prolific and primary role, leading and coordinating the greatest superhero team on the planet, the Guardians of the Globe. A nebulous title that did not exist until recently due to the mass increase of a certain team-up. Originally, there were no set team members, only the best of the best that could be called until only the best of even them remained. For you to be here, sir, someone must be on your radar. Nizu inquires, politely. Cecil's marred face barely changes as he watches the entrance enter past the school gate en masse. The principal's office is high and he can see the entire campus. I'm surprised you let them in so young, Mickey. And so many at once too. Nizu makes his tea after putting down a cup of coffee for his guest. Barely 1/20th of the kids you see coming in will be staying. Our exams are unorthodox and made to challenge with extreme difficulties. Basically giving them the wake-up call they need if they haven't gotten it already, huh? He asks, turning to his friend. Yes, underneath all the double-speak and false formalities, these two would consider the other an ally. It is what has Cecil trust him enough to take a sip of his offering in caffeine. Nizu chirps back with delight, but a bitterness in his tone conveys his true feelings. You already know this. Please, don't waste our time with small talk and pleasantries. The cologne you wear makes me want to GG as is. Cecil turns to face the rat with his mug in hand. Okay, Mickey. Word through the grapevine is Star Man has a kid. Since we don't know what the boy looks like, or even have a name to go off, all we have are his abilities. Nizu jolts with a stray chill of pure excitement. My. And he's trying to go through the system rather than gallivanting as a vigilante. Cecil nods, downing the rest of the coffee and putting it down. We don't have much, but if this kid is willing to go through this process, we could have a reliable powerhouse in our arsenal. Nizu claps his paws together. Chuckling. That's how it is. I must say, I quite agree with the sentiment, but your intentions do not align with my own. Those that make it through this part, are my students. My students, are not weapons, Scarface. Cecil walks past him a few paces, hands in his pockets. Right, because you're teaching them arithmetics, languages, and how to fight for their lives out of philanthropy. I'm not here to wage some senseless cold war of ideals, but don't stand there lying to my face that this isn't a militarized program, whether you intended it to be or not. My only concern is if this kid is real. If he's real, who is he loyal to? Us. Or Papa? Back to back, the two remain in a silent, heated standoff, at least until Nizu breaks the silence, clearing his throat. We'll just have to wait and see. Front rows have yet to be filled if you want the best view in the auditorium. You're too sweet on me. Izuku stands nervously, surrounded by eager and confident examinees, all awaiting the moment they can show off their quirks. Some are already quite impressive with their appearances alone. Some have fancy attire, or striking visages, but he is the only one that seems truly worried. Is it because they're that amazing? Did he end up in a class of true prodigies? Bakugo is in another group, but that he's part of this CRP of young potential heroes, it speaks to some cosmic GG on him that his one and only attempt at his dream is with those so much better than him. How could he compete? Especially when those around him think the same as well, and as soon as the sirens blare, or rather the voice hero, present mic, shout in a loud boom that their assessment has begun. Everyone springs into action, as Izuku lags behind, unsure or too afraid to actively make an effort into smashing the fake robots posing as villains. Powerful enough to smash through stone walls and tough enough to handle bullets as a handful of students struggle with them, there are those that tear through them like paper, and some capable of lining them up take out multiple at once. Just as Izuku thought the people surrounding him are nothing short of impressive, while he feels no different than this morning. His bequeathed quirk did not give him any signs, as he only ate a strand of All Might's hair an hour prior, maybe 2 hours at best. Will it hurt to use? Will he hurt himself by hitting these things? He cannot help but stall, stuttering and stammering, shivering as he tries running around like a headless chicken. Those watching do not even pay much attention to the screens, some more interested in another esteemed guest, whispering amongst themselves as they shoot odd yet suspicious glances at the end of the room where only 2 men stand. So it's true. Starman has someone he's looking for in this batch. Shush. It isn't professional to gossip like this. But he never attends UA activities. I've never even seen him at the sports festival. Why is he here? But I heard he has a partner. Some kid, maybe a son or daughter. If that were the case, it could be anybody here, couldn't it? We just gotta look for someone with fire or flight, don't we? Oh yeah, you're new. His quirk isn't fire-breathing. It isn't. Standing next to Starman is one of the only few people brave enough to speak with him. The only other man considered an equal to him. All Might grins ear to ear in his true scrawny form. He seems to be having trouble. Still, I think he'll be a surprise for everyone here. What did you give him this morning? He was training with you, intensely, for the whole year. Why? Though closer than most, Starman is not someone All Might could find it in himself to trust in the secrets of One for All. He could trust him with his weakened state, his time limit, but not the history behind it all. And thankfully, Starman did not care to ask. I gave him a fighting chance. He just has to fight for the, chance. He's panicking because there's nothing to do. This test is a meaningless waste of resources as it is. It's too safe. Too sanitized. Look at how brittle the robots are. If you want that boy to do anything, you have to make him feel as though he has no choice. Then I believe you'll get your wish very soon. Izuku cannot believe the size of it. Sure, he has seen giants fight before, but always from a safe distance. Always behind a screen or the police, with barriers and heroes acting as walls for safety, never like this. His father told him of the dangers he has faced in his life. He wonders if he's ever felt like he hears ahead of him and sees someone trapped in the rubble. A girl, who was the only one to be kind enough to wish him good luck, when everyone else looked down on him. Whether as a kind gesture or just an act of civil politeness, whether she was making fun of him in secret or not, none of that matters. She is about to be crushed to death as the titanic robot lumbers forth with a devastating step. He has to do something. He recalls what All Might told him. He remembers the destiny laid before him. He has a place by his father's side. He is one day, someday, to be better. To take up their mantle. One day, is today. Like a lightning bolt he launches ahead faster than any of the cameras can keep track of, striking louder than any explosion heard that day. Almost all the windows of the fake city on campus shatter from the shockwave, with nearby buildings growing cracks from shuddering. Izuku strikes the giant robot, not even expected to be destroyed, once. In one strike he sends it out of the arena. Out of the city limits. Out of horizon, out into the sky, and even further beyond into the vastness of space. Seeing such devastation, All Might expected to see Izuku on the ground. The boy was tough when they met, and his body practically transformed over 10 months, but realistically his body shouldn't have acclimated to the full power on One for All. He had expected him to be borderline broken upon landing, but Izuku never landed. He floats there, albeit awkwardly, his knuckles bruised with, however he is floating, even his legs were still working, functioning, not at all broken from what the blonde could see. His own eyes, which once shined with pride, now watch on in startling realization. He had heard from Izuku what his father had told him, an alien protector sent to Earth to help aid humanity, and that his natural gifts could one day awaken in him. In truth, he and Izuku both silently believed it could never happen, hence their efforts towards One for All. Now of all times the long-awaited ascension has come. All Might's already prideful grin widens to a gleeful beaming smile. I guess now we know which one it is, right Star Man, Cecil says as he approaches the two icons. All Might has spoken with and even worked with Cecil, but he rarely left Japan, which led to schedule conflicts regarding his placement in the Guardians of the Globe. But that did not keep them from being allies. Friends, maybe. It's still too soon to tell. I think that girl may have helped him. Uraraka. Don't try to cover for him, All Might. How long have you been keeping this kid a secret from us, huh? Have any other little powerhouses running around? Cecil interrogates. Star Man, who always answered immediately, curtly, with no respect or kindness to his voice, stands there in stunned silence as he watches his son flail in the air. I wish this happened sooner, maybe never. Never. Cecil asks, raising a brow. As if finally snapped out of his stupor, the helmed hero looks at Cecil. It's just him. Excuse me. A great wind pushes several people over, leaving many to gossip, theorize, and speculate amongst themselves as they see the father meet the son on screen. As Starman helps Izuku land, Cecil watches on with All Might. I heard that you also put some stocks into Greenie there. That's his kid, he admitted as much, but what did you do? We have the footage of your meetups. You weren't exactly as subtle with training him as you thought you were. All Might sweat slightly. Well, I guess you could say, he inherited our will and power. Nana Shimura was a friend, Toshi. Did you really give one of the most valuable and powerful weapons of humanity to a 15-year-old kid? At that, a stiff silence deafens the room between them alone as the others ignorantly mingle, ignoring the growing tension. Cecil sighs, shaking his head. That was wrong of me. However, you can understand my concern, can't you? You're on an hourglass, and outside of Star and Stripes and the Guardians, no one else can keep our cosmic tenant there in check like you can. That's his son. I need insurance. Then you'll have it, because that boy will not let anything happen to this world. I hope so, Scarecrow. Chapter 4, The Choice. His world has changed. Irreparably. What once was a quiet existence has become a strange set of circumstances, and accident-prone cases of property damage, though thankfully only his own. Doorknobs would become crunched-up scrap in his palms, doors he once casually pushed against would rip right off the hinges, even pens and pencils would snap between his fingers by complete accident. Thankfully, he learned quickly how to limit his strength, which came to great ease as his mother would hug him constantly. He was reluctant to hug back one night. During the week waiting for his exam results, he sits on the roof of his home. He had been testing how to float off the air, but was too scared of flying beyond any higher, and did not know how to land without crashing. It's awkward for everyone, even on Viltrum. He hears below. Hisashi watches from the ground, before floating up to meet with his son. Izuku frowns. His father hesitated. He never hesitates, in anything. The older alien strokes his mustache in thought. How do I say this? Sometimes, I struggle with the fact that you have your powers. At times I wonder if you didn't go to UA, it'd be better if you didn't bother at all. I can train you instead. However, I know this is what you want, so I won't deny it. Izuku finds this moment of honesty, openness, bizarre. Almost uncomfortable. He leans forward eyeing his father carefully. Is something wrong? Hisashi doesn't say for some time. Then, he smiles. Do you remember that night I told you about our people, the Viltrumites? About the World Betterment Committee? Izuku nods slowly. It's similar to the Hero Association here in Japan. Hisashi sits down next to him and stares up at the sky. You can't even see Viltrum's star from here. There's Paxus Rachio-Lestrum planets our people saw and sent aid for. Earth is outside of that view, but not our knowledge. When I volunteered to come out here, they warned me I could potentially never come back due to the distance, as well as the unknowns with no information on it save for radio signals from satellites. We learned the language, learned about humans, and that conflict is their nature. For me it is the ideal place for our kind. The ideal challenge. He looks straight, past the surrounding homes and neighboring skyscrapers. But I couldn't be prepared for just how constant the chaos of Earth held for me. It's overwhelming, even for me. Son, I may not look like it, but I am older than this planet's modern history. I only arrived 2 years before you were born, but there are some things I still haven't told you and I think I did it to keep you safe. I can't do that anymore. I can't hide the truth. You are going to become more and more Viltrumite as time goes on. You will age, slowly, and as you train. You will find that your body will become even more powerful. You will find yourself surviving things that would atomize even the strongest of Earth's champions. By the time you reach 500 years old, you will still look 20, and it will hurt. I still struggle with this aspect of humanity. I blink, and 10 years pass by. Your mother is my anchor, and without her I don't know if I'd still even be here now. There's you. Someone I know that no matter how long, you'll be there, be here. Protecting these people, capable of protecting dash, he gestures to the sky, pointing at the stars. All of them. The Hero Society and the Hero Association work toward celebrity worship and I have never been a fan of it. On Viltrum, we already have the power, that we value the wisdom one has with their use of it over the power itself. It's why I never looked down on you or your mother. It took nearly losing my life, to even respect All Might, who had fought valiantly by my side with impressive determination. He gives his son a kind smile, but it fades as he gives him a grim reminder. That doesn't mean he and I are enemies, nor are we friends, we're co-workers. This planet claims to love its champions, and they will have their homes here, in the people they protect. However, you will find yourself alone in their world. You're free to try, but they will ostracize you. They will isolate you. They'll belittle you. They've been doing it most of your life. Izuku shrinks as he recalls those painful memories. The feeling of being weak, worthless, unwanted. He feels a firm hold on his shoulder. Even your mother gave up on you. Izuku's heart sinks. He remembers. It was the day after that unforgettable dinner, the reveal made Izuku finds hope, but all he received were reminders of his weaknesses. His failings. His mediocrity. He watched the debut, his mother with him, and he asked her and she was honest with herself with him. It was such a miserable low point in their lives that she promised never to tell his father. Did he hear? Did she tell? Did it matter anymore? No, because what he says next makes his tearful heart swell. She thought you could be a doctor or a lawyer, but not me. Never me. And I want you to know that I want the best for this world. It is not our home, even though we are responsible for it. You and I are all we have. You can't stop at just becoming a great superhero, or just a good person. You need to become a great Viltrumite. It will be a hard, lonesome, and taxing road, but it can be done. I will be with you, every step of the way, because now I know for a fact you are my son, and I love you. Dad. Izuku leans into him. They share a moment before Izuku shoves him away after a comment. So, you should know, Viltrumites enjoy reproduction but our SPRM cells are about as strong as we are. If you don't use a condom, there's no morning pill that'll stop that baby from happening, so be careful. Dad. Although, you should find yourself a girl soon. It'd be nice to be a grandfather at my age. Just be sure to start trying after high school. Your mother would faint if you started a family this early. Izuku's arm sees his father by his shoulders before hurling him high into the night sky, the older Viltrumite laughing in the distance as he fades into the sparkling black above. Good talk, Dad. Good night. That was last night. This morning, after Hisashi left to meet with Masaru, the mail came in, and both Inko as well as Izuku were nervous. She was torn, especially after hearing his powers appearing, and she has had plenty of evidence given the bent silverware and broken chairs. This however is different. Being a hero nets danger, and Hisashi himself faces the most dangerous of conflicts, not just villains. He braves against sea monsters, supernatural disasters, even the rare instances of dimensional invaders. That last part is how they met. She had been caught in the collateral of an attempted invasion. She had been kidnapped with him and other civilians. He had willingly let himself get captured, and then slaughtered their captors, but before he did that he waited, he listened, and he learned from her. He had already allowed the others to die out of pure apathy, but he kept her for her resourcefulness, and then she kept him to teach him to be human. Those rare few moments of Hisashi being human, it made every struggle worth it, and seeing Izuku so excited and so lively it made her heart swell. She could not be more proud, for she already knew, they would want Izuku. I'll leave you to it. I have to finish the duck downstairs. Okay. Oh man, Izuku mutters as he makes it to his room and prepares to open the envelope. You passed. No need to be dramatic about it. He hears behind him. Izuku turns around to see a stranger in his room, someone that certainly was not there before, and he knows his window is locked and his door did not open. Cecil stands there with his hands in his pockets. Sorry for the sudden drop, but I figured it'd be important to meet as soon as possible, seeing as you're about to be very busy. Who? Izuku asks with a slight tremble in his voice. No shout, no scream, but he was clearly uncomfortable. A normal reaction to a scarred, well-dressed stranger in his bedroom. Good. Cecil takes a step to the side and gestures to Izuku's desk. I'm not going to be here long, so don't worry about my presence, and don't bother asking how I got in here. It's a government secret. Government? He asks before taking the offered seat. Cecil offers him a business card. There's no real official name for what we are, but just know I'm in charge of global defense against extraordinary threats, from terrorists to kaiju that eat atom bombs and even cosmic conquerors. Trust me, we've had at least 2 try to take over. Izuku takes it, learning Cecil's name and recognizing the iconography of the Guardians of the Globe. Why, you're with the Immortal Captain Celebrity, Star and Stripe Dash, War Woman Dash, and at least 13 more. I'm in charge of them all, including All Might whenever he leaves this country. I have an offer to make you, kid. How would you like to skip the classes and jump right into the game? You'd give me a provisional license. No. I'd give you full access to save the world. It's only Japan, China, and Russia that gives a SHT about quirk limitations. We already have our ways in America, and honestly, it's not as bad as some newscasts like to make it out to be. Izuku nods again. He figured from the man's accent and appearance, no duh. He was an American. And I could just be a hero, with you. With proper training, fully paid and with a decent monthly allowance, benefits included with the paperwork to make it all work. After all, you are the son of Star Man. Izuku pales then, but Cecil raises a hand, offering a smile as he paces about casually. No. This isn't a threat or anything like that. You can say no to this offer, with no consequences. Star Man is a valued asset, but it'd be a waste to have you stuck on a single island, learning from a bunch of Disney princesses that can do a bit of good work on a small island. Endeavor is a powerful hero, but he can't fly into space, reach Pluto's surface and come back in time to have a beer with the boys. Your old man can, and now, you probably can too. That makes you valuable. It also makes you dangerous. It makes you and your mother a target for the people we're trying to put behind bars. And that's the real reason I'm here. To ask you, if you want to make the world a safer place now, or if you want to smile for the camera for a living. Izuku hangs his head. How does he answer this? He is bombarded by mind-blowing reveals, and with so little evidence, but with how everything has been presented and revealed. Cecil Stedman is not lying. At least, not to himself. Hisashi, certainly, has made his own opinions on his enrollment to UA clearly as well. It'd be better if you didn't bother at all. I can train you instead. However, I know this is what you want, so I won't deny it. It is that. Conversation again. However, it's harsher, more in his face. Cecil speaks again, pulling him from his thoughts. Look, I've gotta go now. Hoover Dam was just hijacked by some water fanatics, but just call that number on the card if you make a decision. The offer will stand even if you decide to go through with UA. It's never too late to become something great, Midoriya. In a flash, he vanishes, leaving Izuku alone with his thoughts. Cecil was right. Izuku passed. However, despite the attempts of spoiling his mood nearly succeeding, something has him well up inside. Once again, a stranger in his life, but someone so kind that she made an attempt where none needed to be made to help him. To unknowingly save him. And when it was revealed that the test had an unspoken benchmark, a hidden point system to test the characters of the students involved, his eyes became waterworks. He made it. Chapter 5, Breaking Records plus Ultra Style. Izuku arrives at the class door. UA was impressive inside and out. With a deep breath, he takes his first step into a new chapter in his life. The more things change, the more they stay the same. His father once said that, and his mother would say it often as well, only for him now to understand why as he watches Bakugo argue with a peer that also gave Izuku a hard time during the entrance exams. Both earned their place here more than he did, so he tried to ignore them, especially Bakugo. After all, they had a small altercation not too long ago, where Izuku stood up for himself for the first time properly, but before he could think back on that, a voice from behind cheerfully chirps. Oh. It's you. You made it. The Superboy. Ah dash. Ah. Hi dash. Hi again. Thank you for helping me get in. She rolls her eyes. Nonsense. You sent that thing flying into the sky. I didn't even think that was possible. He then hears around the classroom as others notice him. Hey, that's the one, isn't it? Acornhead said as much. He's plainer than I thought he'd be. He really sent a 0-pointer out of campus. I heard he can fly too. Fly fast. It's true, I was part of their group and saw it firsthand. What's crazy is how cool he did it. It was like, instant. The whole time, he was a headless chicken, freaking out and not getting any points. Was he pretending or something? I think he didn't want to steal anyone's thunder. He only hit that thing to save her, right? Is that true? At least he made a good first impression. It is, however, an awkward one as he still finds himself talking to a girl, let alone a group, absolutely nerve-wracking. If you're here to socialize, then leave. Says a tired older voice behind the excited girl. On the ground, sits a creepy haggard man snugly laying within a sleeping bag. This is their homeroom teacher. Shoto Aizawa reminds Izuku of his own father, albeit in place of statuesque disciplinary stoicism, this haggard bag of weary bones and scraggly hair has no patience for incompetence. His first task, their first lesson, is a practical activity, in enacting a standardized physical routine practiced in most schools. Except here, they can use their quirks to their fullest, and therein lies two issues for Izuku. He can't regulate one for all. At least, not effectively, despite All Might's attempts of advice, but even then there is the matter of his now awakened anatomy. As a Viltrumite, his quirk cannot hurt him as much as his mentor feared, but almost as he has taken a devil's bargain. He has become a living hurricane whenever he uses it. This test is for their quirks, but he cannot use it lest he potentially destroy the field, and yet he must learn how to use it or else he can never become the hero All Might and his father believe he can be. No, his father doesn't care. He wouldn't, but the matter still remains. Izuku has to, at least for now, merely use his own efforts. So he does, and the results were unexpected. He once struggled with some basic drills. He was used to not being quite enough, or being able to just barely make it in life, but now he excelled. He accidentally ran too fast for the 50-meter dash, crashing into a wall face first despite his feet making a shallow trench in an attempt to stop himself. He crushes the grip box that was made to measure their grip strength. He overshoots during the long jump, though he is caught by one of the students, both of them crashing into the wall yet again. DMN. It's a good thing you flew into me. I'm a tough manly guy. Thanks for trying to save the wall from me, and of course the throw. Even without one for all, a weighted ball that was as light as a feather in his grasp had no chance, and flew into orbit. He could hear the cheers from his classmates and looks back stunned at their praise. He had never been cheered on before by anyone but his parents. It felt nice. Then, he saw Bakugo, and the fuming matchstick blew a gasket. Explain yourself, DKU. He roars as he charges right at him, palms flaming as he readies himself to explode, only for the fires to die out as a cloth wraps around his body. No fighting during school hours. I don't care whatever is going on between you two, but settle it outside of school, especially you Midoriya. Izuku nods with a solemn frown as Bakugo relents. He sends a deathly glare at the boy who dares to call him friend. Especially after such a pathetic childhood together. Had he been lying to him, this whole time? Has he been looking down on him? At the end of the day, Izuku finds himself held back from the class being dismissed, and Aizawa takes him to the staff lounge. What few other heroes Izuku could recognize, immediately saw Aizawa and began to smile. Isn't it a bit early to be threatening a student, Eraserhead? The R-rated hero, Midnight coos with a teasing wink. The only other one there glances in Izuku's direction. The BLD hero, Vlad King, the homeroom teacher of Class 1B's hero course. I don't think that one is going to be any trouble, right? Why is he here? Aizawa rolls his eyes at Izuku, who stiffens at what he believes to be a glare, although it was anything but. His eyes glow, hair rises, an effect of his quirk activating as he watches the young man. Midoriya. Can you do me a favor, and hold this for me? He offers one of the weighted ball from their physical exam. Izuku, confused, does so. Aizawa then closes his now open hand into a fist. Now squeeze. Tight as you can. Don't worry about damaging it, just do it. He flinches upon seeing how easy Izuku accidentally crushes the metal ball within his palm. It now resembles the abstract art of scrap metal. What truly baffled the teachers is the density and specialized alloy of this object would be difficult to crush for even some of the most powerful midcards within Japan's hero society. Only those with fantastic strength quirks, or matter manipulation, or even elemental quirks could do it. But that was the thing. The gap between them is too vast, too diverse, for there are those that would struggle even then and some that could compress this coconut-sized ball of metal into the size of a peanut. Izuku, especially given his own startled reaction, sits at the upper echelon of this level of power without using a quirk. It is then, as if reading his mind or merely finally catching on, that Izuku takes a step back. W8-. I can explain. I would hope so. Everyone has their secrets to keep, but when it comes to what a student of UA can do, it is our responsibility to ensure the steady growth of our students and their safety. He deactivates his quirk then, taking a seat at his desk. I've heard rumors, and you don't need to tell me anything too personal, but I do need to know. Do you even have a quirk? Or is this just something else? Cybernetics. Some strange, super doping, or are you really just that strong? The power to save the world, just as his father and his idol have done before him, he must learn control. His own strength can and now has gotten him into trouble. Lying would only make it worse. I want to be able to do just that. This quirk, these powers of mine outside of it, I know I can learn exactly how to be the best I can be here. I won't let you down. You've got a huge head, don't you? Don't look down on others by holding back like this again. Since you're so scared, you'll show me what exactly it is you're so scared of. Midnight, who was stunned to silence herself having known exactly as Aizawa did regarding Izuku's subtle feat, stammers out between nervous laughter. So naive, so green, I like it dash. But. Hold on. He sent that zero-pointer to space with one punch dash. We're lucky he aimed that thing skyward. If you're going to have him test anything, just be something he can't break. Aizawa groans. Obviously. He could wreck the entire campus, don't insult my intelligence. Midoriya. We're going to redo your long jump, only this time, you're only going up. Not forward. At that, Izuku pales. I haven't gotten I can fly but dash. I'm not good at it. No need to worry, we'll head to the development studio, get you fitted with something to help with a landing. Izuku concedes and within an hour, finds himself wearing what he believes to be a jetpack, with a tracker installed to keep a record check of his altitude. Try to stay in orbit, otherwise you'll die if you reach space. He keeps his words to himself as he takes in a deep breath through his nose. His father has been in and out of deep space several times for Earth, without any equipment, leading speculations towards his helmet being advanced technology. It's just a metal helmet with some plastic decals and visor lens similar to what astronauts use just so he can see. If he truly is anything like his father, don't worry about space. I can hold my breath. Radiation, acceleration, the atmosphere burning you up, among countless other things are higher on the list than suffocation, Midoriya. Show me what that quirk of yours can dash. Aizawa does not get to finish his sentence. He sees the glow, hears the power charge up, before he is sent careening into the stone wall near the track of the fitness field. He is embedded into it with his eyes shut tight from the stinging of dust attacking his sight. By the time the wind dies down, the dust settles, and Aizawa pulls himself free with a grunt. He looks to the tracker in his hands. His eyes fly wide despite the dryness from sand sitting on them. Forget breaking too high into the atmosphere, he's long gone into space, and he could potentially never come back, but he does stop abruptly. Aizawa is quick to act as he begins cleaning his eyes. This idiotic kid could be dead, or was his experiment, his own theory, going to ring true, and this kid truly is Starman's son. Regardless, they needed to get him or at least his body back down here. It was appealing the planet was so blue, so serene, so quiet. Izuku watches from the moon crater he made from landing on his back, breaking the latches but not the device itself. He nearly loses it, but snatches it from floating off into the void before he starts admiring the place he calls home. For the first time he doesn't think of his father, his mother, his dreams, or the current predicament he is in. The sheer beauty of the planet, the lights around the dark parts, and the shimmering majesty that the sun illuminates. Everything seems so small, so fragile. The wonder turns somber, but no less breathtaking as he reaches out to it. In his eyes, he sees it as his thoughts wander back to his father again, the planet in his hand. Every life, every breath, every laughter, sob, shout and dream are right here before him within his palm. The world that once seemed so impossibly big for him to ever truly explore was no bigger than a drop in an ocean of stars, an ocean his father has sailed for millennia. It is his time now. Does he really need UA? As he asks himself this, he looks at the device meant to keep him safe, seeing how useless it is for someone like him but for anyone else. For the people that are his. His mother, his neighbors, his classmates. This is necessary. He is necessary. He is one of them. He can't think of himself as greater. All Might would never do that, and neither would his father, right? You and I are all we have. You need to become a great Viltrumite. Right. Aizawa had made it to the stairs that led back into the main building from the fitness field, but he stumbles from the area shaking again, and looks back to see Izuku crawling out of a crater. He was crying, and he soon saw why. The kid's legs were broken. Did it happen when he landed? Did it happen when he leapt in the first place? It didn't matter, they had to get him to the infirmary. This was a stupid idea. Midoriya. Respond. Are you alive? NGH. I'm fine. I flew back but I tried to slow myself down. We'll just flatten the terrain, stop talking, we're getting you aid. Outside of the clinic room, Aizawa waits. He usually wouldn't, but this happened because of him. This was a bad call but he keeps reviewing what he sees on the tracker. It was shaped and designed like a backpack, because it has a multitude of purposes and features. One such feature is recording footage, and what he sees baffles him. Izuku was just fine on the moon. He was lost in the wanderlust of his scenic view, but who wouldn't be? What got to the homeroom teacher was the lack of struggle. He really is fine in space, he looked natural in it, as if he belongs out there just as a koi fish looks swimming in water. Even the flight back to Earth was gradual, and he clearly struggled with trying to find UA, but finding Japan was easy enough. Then it happened and he can guess what occurred. Izuku landed on his hands, not his legs. His arms were fine, however, his legs must have fractured from the use of his quirk. Twice he used it, the first time to reach the moon, and again to launch off of it back to Earth. Without gravity, he must have flown so fast that the pain didn't even register yet, not until he tried standing up on his own. Eraserhead. I heard we had ourselves a bit of a situation here. He looks up from his phone screen and sees All Might. We did. I hear he's fine now. As if on cue, and much to his own shock, Izuku walks out looking just fine. He bows then to Aizawa. I apologize for the scare. Thank you for bringing me to recovery, girl. Aizawa's paranoid stare shifts to the wizened nurse. Though short and humble in stature, recovery girl is a vital pillar to UA. She shares his expression when their eyes meet, but she puts on a small smile as she pats Izuku's leg. This one is a toughie. Full of vitality and youth. Ah, to be young again. Oh. All Might, you're here as well. He sweeps his hair back, grinning his iconic smile ear to ear. There was a loud explosion heard throughout the school. I had to investigate. However, I think I know what may have happened. Izuku stands straight with a blush on his face. It was my fault, sir. Midoriya was only doing what I asked him to do. From here on, I'll exercise further caution so he doesn't end up with any injuries like this again. Aizawa says, covering for the boy. He shoos him off with a wave and Izuku takes his chance to run. All Might then talks in a serious tone. I don't blame anyone for what happened here. If anything, it's my fault. I've put some stock into him and he feels the need to exceed my expectations. He will, but I just wish he wouldn't go so far to do so. Aizawa walks past him. He's almost too dangerous to let alone so freely. Were it anyone else with that power, I'd say they couldn't be trusted with it whatsoever, not a chance. But Izuku Midoriya is not just anyone. Unbeknownst to Aizawa or All Might, Recovery Girl had found something on Izuku that he had forgotten to take with him. She would have Aizawa give it back to him the next day, but only after she let Principal Nizu know about it, and they agreed on formal silence for now. However, what could not be hidden was her medical report on Izuku's unnaturally gifted healing factor. Her quirk only utilizes the person's own stamina and body to accelerate its healing. For anyone else, they could have died from this injury, and would still need to be in crutches for a week if not a wheelchair. Physical therapy would be a must. Izuku, after one kiss of her quirk, snapped back into place and into action. It was as if his body had gained a mind of its own and forced itself back together. Stronger than before. Chapter 6, Don't Leave Me Behind, Nerd. On his way out of school, a voice calls out to him. There you are, Midoriya. I wanted to ask you something. Ida Tenya, of the engine quirk, a fast runner and a powerful kicker that he accidentally blew away when everyone had raced each other. Thankfully, unlike Bakugo, Ida held no hostility as he approaches Izuku. Yeah. What's up? Ida has a hard time getting out an apology. Not because the apology itself was hard, but because he is unsure if someone like Izuku would even want one, as everything about him reads as someone either secretly condescending or someone genuinely scared of what he can do. He remembers that day all too well. This short toady freckled coward just runs around aimlessly. All of a sudden, when someone is seriously in danger he does the unthinkable. And then their performance today, as he watched Izuku closely, there was no pride in his face. Only fear. Fear, and determination. You've proven to me as someone made ready for this school. When I first met you, I thought otherwise. I just wanted to apologize for that, and hope we can work well together. Okay, did you want something else too? Izuku asks, partially ignorant to Ida's offer. However, the formal student doubles down and makes his intentions known. You're a physical powerhouse. Yet, your personality doesn't befit your quirk. Also, that hovering, are you capable of flight? Is your quirk similar to high flyer? Kite glider? Captain celebrity even? Izuku shakes his head. I'm gonna answer that in class someday. I don't want there to be too many rumors or anything of the sort. Just know that, I'm not like you. I'm trying to figure it out myself. Hence your enrollment. You imply abilities outside of that of a quirk. Yeah. I haven't had them all too long, so I'm hoping to learn how to control them here. Izuku smiles. It is then that Ida realizes one of his theories were confirmed. However, he only has more questions. Still, he respects Izuku's wishes and places a hand on his own chest. I'm headed to the station. I usually just run home, but I deduce spending time with future comrades would prove beneficial. Izuku tilts his head before shrugging as he begins to walk ahead. Sure, I'll walk with you. A third voice cries out from behind. Hey! Wait for me. The cute girl that he had saved. Uraraka Ochako, is her name, that much Izuku remembers from one of the conversations happening during their quirk examinations. You're Tenya, Ida, right? And Midoriya, Deku. At that, Izuku's face wrinkles into a cringing frown. It's Izuku. Deku's a nickname from Kaken, Bakugo. We've known each other since we were kids. I don't really like it. Seeing his reaction to the name as well as the shouting he endured from a one-sided argument, especially after an attempt at a fight, Ochako rubs her head wearing a nervous smile. Oh sorry. I just thought. Well, it was such an endearing name. It kinda shouts dash. She would have finished, but Izuku finds himself seeing things slow down as something comes towards them at a high speed, almost as if his senses kick into high gear. It is only a moment, but it's what he needs to catch a fist, a frightened look as he jolts in surprise at someone trying to attack him. Oh ho! Nice one. Sorry, but I had to see if you were as tough as you appeared. You could have hurt yourself. Don't just attack someone. Ochako pouts at the red-headed student. And what if you actually hit him? You could have hurt him. The boisterous shark-toothed delinquent thumbs his chest. As if. He's about as tough as I am. Name's Eijiro Kirishima. It seemed kinda cowardly at first, Midoriya, but then you showed us all up. What's your workout routine? Ida adjusts his glasses as he scans Ijiro. We're going to miss our train at this rate. We should head out. Izuku turns around on his heel, but gestures for their newest addition to join. We should go. Come with us, Kirishima-san. Hell yeah. By the by. I heard Y sent one those giant bots into space. That true? He knew he would have to get used to these kinds of questions soon. They were about to be the norm for the rest of his life, but having peers interested in him. Praising him. Just wanting to know about and be around him. It's nice. The next day would be what Izuku assumes to be the norm now. He would get up, go to the school, learn, and eventually after some of the more mundane classes the hero course would spark life back into the bored to tears classroom. Especially with such a charismatic and iconic teacher as All Might. Today's lesson would be a practical activity. Battle training. Most were excited for this. It's what everyone in this room wearing a school uniform fought for, and now. The first step into making their dreams come true has finally arrived with their costumes. His costume, it was something. He was told he needed a name first before anything else, and he had so many ideas to pull from. Even his mother helped out with the designs as his father explained the importance of utility over fashion, but not to ignore fashion. He wanted to settle on one design that really resonated with him. However, Hisashi vehemently put it down. Inko managed to pull a reason out of him, a petty one, but one that Izuku couldn't help but feel stupid himself for not thinking of. The All Might inspiration was obvious, but nothing was there of his father, and it made him jealous. Although Hisashi was willing to allow his son his dream suit, that is not what this costume was, for it was a flattering mimicry. A shadow chasing after what casts it. Izuku should have something his own, and so, Hisashi reminded him. Kids today think they're invincible, that nothing can stop them until that first punch or first disaster, but you are actually, that's a cool costume, Deku. Dash. Yours looks great too. He says, hoping his mask hides his blush. It didn't. All eyes turn to their instructor as All Might begins to explain their lesson. Today will be an interior 2 vs 2 exercise. Heroes vs villains, the classics. Immediately, everyone has questions. Calm down, calm down. One at a time. My quirk isn't super hearing. And after getting them to calm down, All Might would answer them. Everyone is to be teamed with someone at random through name ballots. One by one, each team is paired and a letter assigned to each team, with each letter assigned the roles of hero or villain. Sure enough, Izuku is teamed with Ochako, who he can barely talk to as is. His villain duo is Ida and Bakugo. With little time to spare, and as the villain team ventures in first, Ochako asks Izuku as they wait outside of the building. You seem nervous. Is it because of Bakugo? In truth, Izuku had been lost in other thoughts, but his old bully is certainly among them. He never saw Bakugo in a dastardly light, although he never made excuses for his actions either. To Izuku there is something to admire about Bakugo. The same thing he admires in his father. That sheer, unadulterated, unfiltered confidence in their ability. The genius on display regarding their physical prowess. He's amazing. He always has been as kids. I guess I'm just unsure if I can do this dash. There's no room for self-doubt in UA, Deku. We can come up with a plan to figure this out together. You're not alone against him this time. Ochako says as she beams a reassuring smile that gives him more strength than he thought he could feel. And he felt pretty DMN strong as of late. Inside, Ida inspects their fake bomb, as well as seeing various small objects meant to add immersion, be it furniture or appliances. He rubs his chin with his free hand, his main arm is occupied holding his helmet, but he notices Bakugo being uncharacteristically quiet. What is it? Deku, when we were kids, he was called Quirkless, but now dash. Ichem. He didn't tell you. Or maybe you never figured it out. Huh. Figured out what? 4 eyes. Bakugo snaps as he finally returns to his usual self. Ida's eyes lower to an annoyed glare, but he continues past the insult. He told a few of us already that his capabilities don't come just from his quirk. In fact, he had let it slip that his strength and flight aren't related to his quirk at all. I believe I am the only one to notice this in that conversation. Then, what, it's not his quirk? Bullshit. Horseshit. That can't be true. He's lying. If he were, then he's very good at it. I had been waiting for him to ask myself yesterday. As it turned out, Aizawa-sensei had held him back as he was attempting to erase Midoriya's quirk. You know that Aizawa-sensei's quirk erasure is the real deal. Bakugo snarls but says nothing. Then it should come as a surprise to you that our teacher couldn't stop Izuku from his performance. Yet again, Bakugo is silent. Ida sighs, putting his helmet on. Normally I would ask you not to target him, however, I have an idea. It is integral that you keep Midoriya as busy as possible. Just make sure not to cause so much destruction that the building collapses in on itself. Whatever, all this time had he always had those powers? If it isn't a quirk, what could it possibly be? Has he always been this strong, and if not, how did he cheat to get this powerful so fast? Izuku and Ochako slowly patrol the interior after a quiet entry through one of the windows. They even hover above the ground, moving forward as Izuku carries Ochako, so that no footsteps could be heard. As soon as they begin hearing some, they would enact their plan. Bakugo stalks the halls, his ears perked for the slightest sound, and his eyes narrow as he focuses on any detail straight ahead. He turns, explosive hand ready, but time and time again he is disappointed. Then, he hears them. Someone is running away. Something is scraping stone. He charges after where he hears the sound, and sees the shadow on the ground from around the corner, and the gloved hand of Midoriya placed on it. The idiot was always bad at hide and seek. You're mine, Dku. He makes his target explode into pieces. A fake crude statue made out of the wall just a few steps behind its spot. It had been floating there, bare and barely resembling the humanoid figure, save for the gloved hand. What is all he says until a hand from above nearly burrows his skull through the floor. Izuku and Ochako had been hiding high above Bakugo near the ceiling, and once he had taken the bait, Izuku landed on top of him while Ochako ran off. I'll try to capture him with the tape. Hurry. Bakugo struggles against the unyielding hold, but as his eyes unintentionally scan the ground, he notices a seemingly random light bulb. No, not random. Izuku or Ochako, one of them uninstalled the light where they had been hiding, but had forgotten to hide the bulb. If he were paying more attention, if he merely had taken this idiot seriously were he up against anyone else, he would have noticed this ridiculous mistake they made. But he knew. Izuku knew he would take the bait of catching him off guard. DMN this, BSTRD. This trickster. This liar. This coward. This worthless useless. DKU. Izuku is stunned as Bakugo briefly pushes himself up against him, just enough to swing an explosion that sends Izuku off of him. The two land on their feet and stare at each other. Bakugo's blazing glare splashes against the nervous yet cool gaze of Izuku's watchful eyes. Aren't you going to make a move? DMN straight. With the hunger of a starved wolf, Bakugo lunges for Izuku with a right palm, an explosive attack he has seen enough times to telegraph. Izuku grabs him, just before it can fully shoot out, and swings Bakugo over his shoulder with a practiced form. Just as his father taught him to do. He only meant to slam Bakugo on his back, which he successfully did. Bakugo's mouth erupts with a thin yet very visible spray of red, as the ground underneath his body cracks, and even begins to sink a little before he falls through. Jeez. Is he trying to kill him? A student by the name of Mineta asks. Ijiro, however, bats for his newest friend. You think that will take out someone as explosive as Bakugo? He scored first in the entrance exams. If anything, I think Midoriya is being too soft on him. His skin begins to grow jagged, sturdier, as he briefly flexes his quirk. Then again, not everyone can be as tough as me, heh. Another student with bubblegum pink skin and cotton candy hair shakes her fists up and down, watching on in excitement. They're like opposites of each other, aren't they? One's super strong but very humble. The other is all bash and brash. They'd make a great duo if they could work together. All Might watches on, chuckling at her observation. They couldn't be further apart in terms of synergy, I agree. Nonetheless, it seems young Bakugo is not quite out yet. In his head, he is reminded of the many, many times he butted heads against Starman, mostly on ideals, and over time, his brutal ally would see that sometimes violence is not the answer. It comes to a relief for him that his son has already figured out that part. Izuku looks down the hole with a look of worry. A look of concern. That same, stupid, condescending look that invites nothing but ire from him. Why is he always looking at him like that? Why did he have to be so lame? Then why was he still looking at him like he was some victim? And now. Why is he suddenly so superior? Bakugo's hands appear from below and sees Izuku's ankles as this pebble in his path steps near the edge. He pulls him down, through the ground he stood on, and swings so Izuku's back crashes into the ground of the first floor. Bakugo steps back after landing, panting, wiping his brow before he roars out. Well. What are you waiting for? Get up. Izuku does sit up, and stand up, hands raised as if taking a stance, but his face doesn't change, and that infuriates Bakugo even further. You think you're so strong now, huh? That you're so DMN tough, right? He holds up his hand, placing a finger on the pin to the grenade accessory on his arm, a decoration that Izuku would quickly learn has a dangerous use. But he wants to test something. He needs to brace himself for pain. To test a theory, to see if he is as his father says, to see if he is worthy of being by his side. To be the best there is. To be Earth's guardian. That's right, stand right there with that stupid look on your face. Don't you move a DMN muscle because dash. He pulls the pin and roars. You're nothing but a pebble in my way, nerd. BOOM. How'd you like that, DKU? As the dust cloud settles, the heat sizzles the rock and cooks the glass, the class awaits seeing Izuku's body. They find him, but he's still standing, his costume suffering minor burns while not even his hair is singed. You will find yourself surviving things that would atomize even the strongest of Earth's champions. He recalls. He now knows this to be true. Where once, he feared the heat, and felt great despondence towards the burns, now what once made him feel so weak couldn't even make him feel at all. It's over, Kaken. Bakugo steps back, frozen sweat trickling down the valleys of his now bumpy skin as his limbs tremble, his tongue tied as he whispers out in shock. Why, you're not him. Bakugo says in a breathless panic. No, not fear, but true disbelief. He must be having a nightmare, a vivid and dangerous hallucination, some kind of psychic attack. Before he regains his senses, he finds himself in a red-green whirlwind, one that lasts only a few moments before his arms are bound to his body. His torso wrapped up in the capture tape. He snarls, rebuking this reality, and goes for a headbutt that lands against Izuku's nose, but his own head bruises against it. Guh. Feeling faint and seeing double, he falls to his knees as Izuku taps onto the transceiver that barely survived the explosion. I got him. How are things on your end, Uraraka-san? Haha. WL. Things are kinda dicey. I've got nothing to work with and he's really moving. Then we stick with the plan, you're in the room with the bomb, right? Yep. Say the word and we'll finish. This. Izuku begins muttering to himself as he walks away, but upon hearing the tape snap, he turns around in time to see Bakugo return to him with a new swing. A crazed look, heart unrelenting, stubborn to the very end. Just as he expected. Izuku stops the explosion early, a muffled boom between their enclosed palms, as Izuku clasps his hand against Bakugo. Fingers intertwined before slightly crushing the blonde's hand, he tries to retaliate with another swing, only for the same results. He uses his knee to attack Izuku's body, his ribs, between his legs, but his thigh and kneecap began to ache. Without any actual room or air to ignite the sweat in your hands, you can't utilize your quirk to cause further damage to the building, and you can't hurt me. It's over. Bakugo's face wrinkles into an avatar of pure wrath as he is forced onto his knees, a test of strength that he had failed as Izuku's grip and weight seemed insurmountable, until his former punching bag finally releases him and his arms blur. Everything goes silent. Only a faint ringing as his vision flashes white. Izuku had clapped his head, then lifted Bakugo's body off of the ground with a gut punch, before grabbing his head mid-air and burying it halfway into the ground. This time, he stayed down. His eyes rolled to the back of his head. Izuku himself stares for a moment. Why did he hit him? He only intended to tire him out, but, as soon as he pushed Bakugo back, it was as though something in his own mind snapped. He just moved. He acted. There was purpose, intent, and yet no thought. Instinct. Anger. Violence. But not murder. Never, murder. Bakugo groans as his eyes slowly close, an arm moving weakly in an attempt to push himself up, only to give out as his chest rises and falls with weak breaths. He has done the single most impossible thing he once considered achievable only in his dreams, and even then, only as a means to keep Bakugo from harming himself. He beat him. And he did so with ease. He shakes his head and makes his move. Sorry about that, Uraraka-san. Get ready to grab onto something. In the camera rooms, Class 1A watches on in pure shock. Man, isn't he a little too strong? The invisible girl, Toru Hagakure, asks with a defeated tone. Another student of Herculean physique and thick lips, Rikido Sato, rubs his neck. I thought I'd be pretty strong, but Bakugo and Midoriya are on their own separate tier. A boy with strange dispensers for elbows, Hantashiro, sighs in relief. At least I don't gotta face Midoriya. That'd be a nightmare. What is he, invincible? One of the brightest students, a tall girl with a serious demeanor, Momo Yayazoru, speaks up. It's hard to say what exactly went down between those two without any audio, but Midoriya is certainly a force to be reckoned with. All Might remains silent as he writes his own notes down for grading, but his thoughts wander, as he briefly sees a dangerous sign. No one else seems to have caught it, and how could they? They have never worked directly with someone like Starman before. The finishing strategy was a blockbuster as Izuku, using his strength, sends the floor under Ida and Ochako upwards in pieces with a thunderous clap, allowing a prepared Ochako to use a support pillar as a baseball bat to distract the disoriented foe villain. With one lucky leap, she captures the weapon. From there, after the hero's victory, each team found the drive to try and one-up the performance. Some did exactly that, others not so much, but after each round everyone soon had an idea of what their fellow classmates could do, but Bakugo's thoughts were elsewhere. How and why did asking even matter? It was so clear-cut. He had defeated him so easily. The capture tape was absolutely unnecessary. Even one of his strongest blasts did nothing. He did not even mean for a direct hit, but right as he pulled the pin, Izuku moved in. He took the hit and it did not even budge him. He completely, utterly, totally lost to Deku. When the battle training was over, everything felt muted for the blonde dynamite. Even as others tried to talk to him, they ended up surrounding Izuku instead. And he would go the rest of the day without saying a word. There wasn't anything that needed to be said. He would go home, eat if he could, and wake up the next day or something, cack and dash. Wait. Izuku calls out. Only these two are left. Was he waiting for him? To gloat? To pity him? To try and make him feel better? I didn't use my quirk today because, for most of my life, I've been waiting for my powers to awaken. I can't have a quirk because of what I am. Who my dad is. What? That's not right. Is this another trick? Some kind of lie? What is his aim here? His eyes widen upon seeing Izuku float on his own. He assumed that Ochako did that, or that he had some kind of tool, but not now. Not when he can do it so effortlessly. My father is Starman. And, he isn't human at all, he's from a different planet. He uses a tool to breathe fire and has been lying about having a quirk this whole time. I inherited his powers and only learned how to use them recently, but I don't plan on lying about being quirkless like he did. I wanted you to be the first to know. The sulking matchstick turns to face him fully with his face changing before a memory stirs. No, memories. They both idolized heroes in their youth, but where Bakugo sought to fight his way to the top, Izuku cheered on like a proper bystander. But heroes are so busy, they've little to no time to show up to birthday parties unless they were important people. Rich people, royal people, powerful people. Even in his early years, he knew this. It is why he feels so entitled to the status of gifted genius, because he recalls, how many times did the infamous Starman attend his birthday? Not every one, but more than one, enough that he became a fan of the man himself. Izuku, who always bought All Might merchandise, was his opposite with this. Bakugo loved Starman, his stoicism, his brutality, but above all else was his unstoppable cool demeanor. Everything he wanted to be could be found in that man. Izuku wanted so badly to be the symbol of peace, a title Bakugo never cared for when the title of strongest in the world sat with another, marking what was meant to be their separate pathways from the start. But if only Izuku wasn't so lame. So weak. So pathetic. They could have been partners if Izuku had a decent quirk. They could have been the next polar twins. However, as if he couldn't insult him further, he tells him this. It's enough to boil his blood so fiercely it burns away the depressed funk. You're the son of the strongest guy in the world. All this time, you just took it, because you were strong yourself, is that it? Shut up. Just shut up. I won't stand for this bullshit. From here on, Izuku, I'm not gonna lose to you. He says with hot tears in his eyes. He storms off, running away, leaving a nervous yet lighter Izuku behind, a small frown on his face as he wonders if he did the right thing. I'm surprised he never noticed himself. Izuku hears by his side. His father, in costume, stands by him. I know you're attending this school, but I'd like some time to train you personally, especially since there aren't too many challenges here for you. Are you ready? Izuku grins and begins to fly high with his father passing and leading the way. Unbeknownst to either of them, that two pairs of eyes saw them leave, one pair belonging to a seething yet cooling Bakugo. He would go home and find his father closing his laptop. It was no secret that he worked with, if not straight up for Starman, he was in charge of handling the marketing and finances of the hero's company. In truth, Starman barely made any of the actual money owed to him, but that is because of his own wishes. In his eyes, Masaru made the company, and it was Masaru who earned the profit from his efforts. Regardless of using his image to do so. It was, at the end of the day, Inko's idea. When Masaru explains this to his son, Bakugo quietly left for his room. Everything he thought he knew, wasn't. Everything he believed he understood, he didn't. It only then occurred to him how often he had thought about Izuku, how much of his life he shared with the green sweaty booger, and he wondered. Is this the time they finally part ways? And, should that happen, will it really be a separation, or will it just be one leaving the other behind? He wonders elsewhere in a well-kept and hidden dive bar, as one man reads the latest news of All Might's role as a teacher, and another watches television regarding a new high flyer by Starman's side. It seems like that tip we got is true, Shigaraki. I can't believe the Lizard League was useful for something. However, it looks like whoever this new kid is, they couldn't be a part of you. Starman is known to despise it. So the original plan is still in motion. Obviously, Kurogiri, it's time we killed, the symbol of peace, especially with such dangerous hired help.